Okay, may it please the court? Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, my name is Brian Ka, and I have the honor of representing Mrs. Cooperman. She's a passionate attorney who dedicated her life to helping her clients, and today she stands accused by those who would rather point fingers than take responsibility for their own actions. Rubin and Engels received substantial settlements, more than many could ever dream of in similar situations. Yet, instead of feeling gratitude for the significant compensation they received, they chose to betray the very person who fought tirelessly for their success. Mrs. Cooperman has nearly 2 decades of experience dedicated to helping her clients. Her career is built on integrity, diligence, and compassion. She's not just a legal advocate, she genuinely wants to see others succeed. This is exemplified by her encouragement of her paralegal, Mr. Pat Simpson, who testified that it was Mrs. Cooperman's guidance that inspired him to pursue his law degree. Today, however, she must defend her name, ethics, and character against accusations that simply do not hold up. This case involves Rubin and Engels, two clients who were injured in a car accident. They turned to Mrs. Cooperman for help, and she guided them every step of the way. She prepared them for the challenges ahead, advocated for them with passion and skill, and ultimately secured settlements of $16,000 and $70,000. While these amounts may not have aligned with their inflated expectations, they were the best possible outcomes given the facts of the case. Now, one of the clients, David Engels, claims that Mrs. Cooperman misled them, suggesting that she guaranteed specific settlement amounts. But the evidence will show that this is far from the truth. At no point did Mrs. Cooperman promise or guarantee any specific figure. Rather, she simply set reasonable expectations and fought for the best result. Their anger and frustration stemmed not from anything my client ever did, but from their own misconceptions about what was possible. The real issue here is not Mrs. Cooperman's conduct. It's her client's unwillingness to face reality. During depositions, one of them was so hostile that even opposing counsel commented on how poorly he would perform in front of a jury. Their own words, demeanor, and comparative negligence, meaning their own share of fault for the accident, played a major role in limiting their settlements, not Mrs. Cooperman's actions. The evidence will also show that Rubin and Engels signed the fee agreement fully aware of the risks, costs, and potential outcomes. They knew their actions during depositions hurt their case. They knew their comparative negligence contributed to reducing their compensation, and yet they have chosen to lash out at Mrs. Cooperman by reporting her to the state bar, questioning her ethics, and attempting to tarnish a long-standing career built on dedication and trust. If these unfounded accusations are allowed to stand, the consequences will be serious. Mrs. Cooperman has spent nearly 20 years building her reputation, and this case threatens to destroy it. An unjust outcome would not only damage her character, but also send a troubling message that people can be blamed when others refuse to take responsibility for their own actions. But ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you have the power to set the record straight. This trial is your opportunity to see through the accusations and recognize the truth. As the evidence unfolds, I ask you to look closely at the facts and consider the person standing before you. Mrs. Cooperman is not just an attorney. She is a woman who has spent her career fighting for others, standing by her clients, and working with integrity and compassion. In your hands lies the power to restore Mrs. Cooperman's name and to stand against the unfounded claims that seek to tarnish her character. This case is not about her actions. It's about the unrealistic expectations and the blame game played by those who should know better. As you weigh the evidence, remember that your decision can bring not just justice, but hope. You have the opportunity to affirm that integrity and hard work deserve recognition, not unjust condemnation. And by standing with Mrs. Cooperman, you can help ensure